Hi, thanks for checking out my YouTube channel. This is Moving to Madison, Wisconsin, and I am Mindy Kesnick, your host. Today, we're going to talk about the East Side versus the West Side. And this is a very hot topic amongst Madisonians. You will find that people are very passionate about which side is the best side. And when we're talking about the East Side versus the West Side of Madison, we're basically talking about the East Side of the capital versus the West Side of the capital. When talking about the East Side and the West Side of Madison, Wisconsin, there are actually a fair amount of differences. So today, we're going to talk a little bit about the differences between the East and the West Side, and then also how to choose where to live. So if we're looking at it from strictly a real estate perspective, what you will find is to purchase a similar size home, like a 3-bed, 2-bath on the West Side versus the East Side, you're going to pay a little bit more to be on the West Side. And honestly, the only reason is supply and demand. There are incredible neighborhoods and areas on the East Side and the West Side of Madison. There are upscale neighborhoods on both the East Side and the West Side of Madison. And there's incredible high-end suburbs on both the East Side and the West Side of Madison. But what makes the real estate on the West Side worth just a little bit more is the West Side is closer in proximity to the majority of the top employers that we have in the area. A lot of people that are relocating to the Madison area are coming for jobs. We've got an incredible job market here. The biggest ones that are recruiting people from out of state are typically places like Epic, which is located in Verona, which is a western suburb. Exact Sciences is another huge corporation in the Madison area, and their headquarters is on the West Side. CUNA Mutual and Northwestern Mutual and Fairway Mortgage, there's a lot of other big credit unions and banks and things like that that are also on the West Side. So a lot of it just has to do with there are more people looking to move into the area and be on the West Side of Madison because of those specific jobs. Now, there are also some really big employers that are located closer to the East Side. American Family Insurance is one. It's a huge employer, and there are a lot of East Side offices. A couple of the top employers are going to be the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and that's going to be the school, and then the University of Wisconsin Hospitals and Clinics, which also includes the American Family Children's Hospital. Those are pretty central. They're both downtown Madison, but they are a little bit farther west than they are east, which is just going to make your commute to those places a little bit better if you're on the West Side versus the East Side. Now, they employ a lot, like we're talking several thousands of employees, so they're not all located on the West Side of Madison. There's a lot of people that commute from the East Side of Madison to downtown, whether it be the campus or the hospitals, and it's really not that awful. So I would say that people that are working at the UW hospital and working on campus, it's probably a 60-40. 60% of the people are going to prefer to be on the West Side, 40% on the East Side. And honestly, what it's going to come down to for those employers where it's a little bit more centrally located is honestly just what kind of neighborhood you want. The East Side and the West Side have similar neighborhoods in the sense that you're going to find high-end neighborhoods on the East and West Side, but you're going to find a little bit more niche neighborhoods depending on where you want to be. So if you're looking for more of like a hippie type neighborhood, the East Side's got some really cool neighborhoods that, you're gonna find like bright pink and blue and purple houses, and there's no restrictions or covenants, and people can kind of do whatever they want, and they love to put their personality like all over their home and their yard and whatever. There's some really cool neighborhoods like that, more so on the East Side versus the West Side. And then on the West Side, you're gonna find some of those just higher end neighborhoods they're more prevalent. There's more of them on the West Side than there are on the East Side. And then, obviously we're talking today just Madison proper. The suburbs are a whole nother kind of ballgame. Where you work is a big consideration when choosing the East Side versus the West Side as far as where to purchase a home or rent a home or live. A lot of that is the commute. So we have one main drag that takes you from east to west, and we call that the Beltline. It's Highway 12 and 18. And if you are traveling west to get to work every day, you're going to be driving into the sun in the morning and into the sun on the way home, which can be a really big inconvenience. You're also going to deal with a lot of traffic because that is the main way to get from the east side to the west side. Obviously, we've got, downtown streets and things like that take you in and out, but there's a lot of stops. There's a lot of side roads. There's just a lot more traffic. And so the Beltline is that main commuter road. It's a huge consideration when I'm working with buyers who are looking to purchase a home. I really try to help them understand the gravity of where are you working and what is your commute going to look like? What time of day are you going to be traveling? And are you going to want to drive into the sun on the way to and from work? Because it's blinding. Now, obviously, that's not the only consideration. We also want to think about what do you enjoy doing outside of your work hours? There are parks and places to get outside no matter where you live. So that's really I can help you find a great path, a great hike on either side of town, really close to probably wherever you're living, because this area has incredible parks and trails and places to get out and walk and hike and bike. That's not a huge consideration. However, where do you like to eat and where do you like to shop? Those can be other things that we play into which side of town is going to be the best side of town for you. If shopping is really important to you, the west side has way better shopping, which is actually pretty convenient that it's a little bit farther than me. I'm more towards the east side. It actually plays into my favor that all the best shopping takes me a little bit more of an effort to get to. We've got a shopping center called Hilldale Mall. It's an outdoor shopping center, and that's where you're going to find like Lululemon and Macy's and some of those higher end stores. They've got a Peloton store there. They've got Anthropologie and Madewell and just some of those higher end shopping centers that we don't have, honestly, on the east side. So if I'm ever going out shopping for some new clothes or a fun new outfit, I'm heading to the west side. The other thing the west side has that the east side doesn't is a Whole Foods, which if you're not familiar, it's like a little bit more of like a high end. There's a Trader Joe's on the west side. There's just better, higher end grocery stores if you're looking for that. Obviously, you're going to find plenty of grocery stores on the east side as well. But if you're looking for places that have a bigger, better variety of like organic foods and things like that, it's on the west side. Thankfully, we both have a Costco, we both have a Home Goods, we both have some of these other things that are like Target. We both have plenty of Targets to choose from. So it's not like you're not going to be able to do any shopping if you live on the east side. There's just some better choices on the west side, in my opinion. Now let's talk about the food scene. If you're a foodie, you like to go out to eat, there are incredible restaurants all over Madison. However, if you're looking for like a high-end steakhouse, probably gonna wanna go downtown or to the west side. But the east side has some really fun, eclectic, different kind of non-chain restaurants too. So honestly, I live on the east side and we spend plenty of time going out to eat on the east side and the west side of Madison. You're good on the restaurant scene, in my opinion, on either side. Now, I feel like I've talked up the west side a little bit more than the east side. I don't necessarily prefer the west side. I love both sides of Madison. I'm Switzerland here because, like I said, I love to go to the west side to shop, but I also love living near the east side because it's closer to the airport. It's closer to the interstate, which is going to take you to Milwaukee, Chicago. The interstate is what's going to take you all the way north or all the way south. So I really love being able to hop onto the interstate closer from the east side. I also travel a fair amount. So if you know that you're going to need to be catching a flight, like I said, the Dane County Airport is super close. It's usually more expensive, so a lot of times we will travel from either the Milwaukee airport or the Chicago airport, which we on the east side happen to be much closer to. From an entertainment standpoint, again, there's great stuff on both sides. Like I mentioned, there's great hiking all over Madison. There's also some really great small theaters that you can either see concerts or things like that. A lot of those are centrally located. There's a lot of downtown scene for arts and music, and then there are some on the east side and west side. So I don't know if this has been like overly helpful because I have played Switzerland, but I really do feel that there's benefits for the east side and the west side. It really comes down to which side of town is going to best suit you as far as your job and your hobbies and the things that you enjoy doing. Also, what is your budget and what type of neighborhood do you want to live in? That's something that very experienced agent in the area is going to be able to help you dial in and talk a little bit more specifically about the different neighborhoods that we have to offer in and around Madison. Again, suburbs are a whole nother ballgame, so those come into play too, and there's amazing suburbs on the east side, west side, north side, south side. You can't go wrong. Madison's just a great place to live. So if you have more specific questions, please reach out. I would love to help. Thank you again for stopping by, and I hope to hear from you soon.